Okay, I'm going to do a little walkthrough here how to take a basic what's called a piezo buzzer, often used in computers and, well, door alarms, smoke detectors, those types of things, to create that lovely buzzing sound that we hear in our smoke alarms and our alarm clocks and the like. And we can take that and turn it into a pickup for a ukulele, for a guitar. In this case, we're going to do it for a ukulele. Now, where you can get a piezo, you could go to Radio Shack if there's still one around and buy one like this. I want to say probably about $4, $3.50 or so. You could run down to the dollar store, pick up one of these door alarms, and then you'll get 3 of those little batteries as well. Or if when I'm making this is about the time of year where we're changing out our smoke detectors, and in fact, if you crack open one of these, the old one, not the new one, you want to put the new one up so that your house doesn't burn down, etc. There is actually a little piezo in there as well that you can pull out and use for this. What we're doing today, though, this would be the easy way, the more expensive way. I like using things that aren't intended to be used for what they are. Plus, I need some of those batteries for one of my kids' hex bugs. So we're going to pull this out of its package. Now, this little door alarm, the way it's set up is that when the little magnet is separated from it, assuming you have these in, that it'll make a lovely little noise. And so say if a door is opened up, a security door or whatever, and you have this set, you'll get that sound. Okay, that sound's created by the piezo disc that's inside. Well, we don't want that sound, so we're going to take this out. We're going to open up this case here, because what we're going to try to do is take the piezo disc out. I'm just going to take these wires here, clip them off, because we don't need that stuff either. Okay. Now the challenge is getting this thing out without cracking the crystals or breaking the little disc. Here is the magic piezo crystal. That's actually this part here. You can see where the wires have been soldered on. We're going to solder on into the same places. You can reuse these wires if you wish. Now what I'm going to use here, because I didn't have any other wire laying around, is RCA wire. If you've got one of these things, it sure comes in handy. Just cut these off here. Then strip the wire off, or the insulation off the wire. One of the things I like about these RCA plugs, I mean, first of all, if you're like most people, you've got probably 100 of these laying around the house, since everything's gone over to digital and HDMI cable and all these. We have all these RCA plugs laying around that aren't being used much anymore. I mean, you still use them occasionally, but I tend to be kind of a hoarder when it comes to wiring and stuff, so I've probably got an extra mile of this stuff laying around that isn't needed anymore. I'm going to pull that copper wire away from that center piece there, and this is handy because it actually shows us which one's which by the color of that center piece here. So we just need the amount of wire that'll go from just under the bridge of the instrument to somewhere near the tailpiece I'm gonna very scientifically go there. Again, you're gonna want to strip these two things apart. Okay, so now we have our two pieces ready to go. One side will end up going onto here and soldered onto this. I'll do most of that off screen here, so those of you who actually know how to solder well won't be able to laugh too much at me. Okay, I let the liquid electrical tape dry overnight by putting down a piece of tape like this. I can now peel the tape away and have a flat connection point. My concern always is trying to make sure that the other side of the piezo disc can get a firm and solid connection to the soundboard. And so now I have the disc here, and I can take and just trim away the extra rubber stuff here. So I get a nice neat disc. Now this is the side of the disc then that will get glued directly to the soundboard on the inside of the ukulele or guitar if you decide to go, do this with the guitar. It's the same concept. I mean, you could take this and glue this to a drum. It doesn't much matter. A pickup is a pickup is a pickup in this case. It ends up being simply a contact microphone. I'll clean this off here with rubbing alcohol just to make sure that I've got everything cleaned off of that. And I can connect this now to an amplifier, which I've done once or twice here, just to make sure that the connections were solid. Put hot glue on top of this, and doesn't that look like a lovely mess right there? You can tell this is a very professional looking job. Luckily, all this is on the inside of the instrument, so it's never seen unless you happen to show it to somebody with a mirror, or you've got a luthier in there and they just love laughing at us for doing this kind of crazy stuff. So now I've got a big gooey sound insulator there that should absorb sound coming from the other direction, hopefully reducing some feedback. Once I let that dry, then I'll go ahead and be able to install it into the ukulele that I'm going to be putting it in. We need to determine where we're going to put the pickup once we've got it. Now some of this is simply going to be determined by what can you reach with your hand. You know, I have a little bigger hands. About the closest I can get to the bridge is going to be right around under here. In this particular instrument, there's a brace that goes down the center. So I'm going to try to go a little towards the bass side on this, and then and try to get it as close to the bridge as possible. The other thing we need to do is we need to have a hole for the input jack, and then marked on here. So I've marked exactly where I want to put it. Put the tape down, and this of course is the scary part. Put in drill to your instrument. You will survive. Now whether your instrument will, that's a different question, but you'll survive. Here we go. Okay, no blood, no tears yet. We're doing well. Put jack in next. Now this can be a little tricky, but I picked up a little trick from a guitar tech luthier friend of mine that I'll share here with you. Now if you were doing the soldering before, that means you have some solder, and it comes in these flexible little coils here. Alright, so I take my solder, which is flexible, feed it through the hole that you just made over to the sound hole. Now the trick is to be able to get it to hang on here, to pull it through and still be able to get it out later on. Let's see how we do. And success. Okay. So now we have our jack in. We're ready to go on the next step. Okay, so again, our glue is going to be applied here. We're going to try to get the pickup to be as close to the underside of the bridge as possible. I'm going to use this glue right here. We're going to let that dry for a bit. Okay, now we've got everything taken care of. I got it tuned up now. The glue is dried. I've got the jack put in. I've got a cord going directly to the computer. In a moment we're going to hear what it sounds like just through the pickup. A lot of times what I do is I put a pickup on an instrument as much so I can do recording no matter the noise we've got around in the classroom or, well, in my case, in the house, because you probably have already heard some kids running around and the like. So you can hear what it sounds like, first of all, acoustically. This is a Ohana TK10 that I've strung as a low G, and this is what it sounds like completely acoustic. Now in a moment I'm going to turn off the microphone for the camera and just take the input from the pickup only. And so there you go. That's your dollar pickups plus some spare parts laying around. And you get 3 batteries for those darn hex bugs. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at my webpage. Or I'm sure there's other great tutorials out there to kind of help you out. This is the one, this is how I do it. So enjoy.